All right, guys. As you can see, we have our first guest on. Dan Pena, comedian, actor. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Dan, comedian, actor.
So Dan and I actually worked together at a restaurant. That's how I met him here in Pasadena. He's been a good guy since I met him, and I just wanted to have him on, give ourselves a little bit of exposure to each other's fans, and let you guys see how funny he is. I mean, I see him every day at work, so it's pretty funny just to sit there and work with him. But I'll get you guys to meet him a little bit, and we'll go from there. So Dan, I just want you to start off by talking about how you got to this point. Go back as far as high school or kid days, anything like that. Just go back to what kind of got you to this point.
Oh my God, it has been a journey. I remember. Well, first I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And we have the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is like an annual thing. And
Right.
like everybody who's anybody goes to the rodeo growing up in Texas.
Right.
And I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old, and Bill Cosby was doing a set at the rodeo.
Right.
And as a child, no joke, I was like, I want to be like that guy when I grow up.
Without the Quaaludes.
Yeah. Now I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be anything like Bill Cosby, man. But yeah, that was one of the inspirations, kind of growing up, and I have since done a lot of theater and acted for the screen. And I even had a gig earlier today. So yeah, I've just been bouncing around, living that dream, and yeah, it's been a wild ride.
So you want to speak a little bit on what you're working on? If you can't talk about it, fine.
The current project that I'm working on, I can't talk too much about it.
Okay.
Because I signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
But I can say that it will be coming out after September.
Cool.
And it is produced by the Kimberly Kardashian.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Throwing some big names out there, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So you kind of got inspired by Bill Cosby. Is there any other like comedians or any other actors that kind of really grabbed your attention when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely. Robin Williams was a huge influence.
Right.
I've always wanted to meet him. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to meet him. But I somehow managed to do a lot of secondary things that were pretty awesome. Like I was in San Francisco when they were casting his ashes out into the bay and stuff like that. Dude. So that was a really surreal moment for me. To just kind of be in, his town at the time. And,
right.
But I base a lot of what I do on, I guess it's heavily influenced. My sets are influenced by Jim Gaffigan and Sebastian Maniscalco.
Okay. Two big names in comedy.
Yeah.
So speaking of comedy, and you said you kind of started with theater. Mm-hmm. What was that transition like? And was it just something that you saw, or were your friends like, dude, you're really funny, like you should go after this? Or
that's kind of what happened. I was in lots and lots of plays, and I did a lot of improv in the plays. And so it was community theater growing up. They would sometimes write parts just for me. Like we did a Little Princess. And for some reason, the director wrote in Fagin from the show Oliver for me to play. And so it was a lot of these weird mashups, and they were just like, you know what, Dan, just do your shit.
Right. Just be you that's why you're here, right?
Yeah, just go in there and just wreck fucking shop. Who the fuck cares about Little Princess? Make this the Fagin show. and so I did a lot of that and went to college, and they said you could either get your bachelor's of the arts, which would give you the freedom to do comedy if you wanted to do that, or you can get your BFA, but there's a lot of Shakespearean training that's involved.
Okay.
And I was one of the ones that was like, I'm going to just do the BFA and also focus and take extracurriculars in summer school enough to be able to do the comedy as well.
All right. And that's kind of something that you have to have and getting into this work field that I've noticed from comedians that I watch is like really hard work ethic to be able to do acting, do comedy, and like a lot of people do both. Do you think it goes hand in hand?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, the gig that I just shot was like all comedy training and stuff like that. But even though I wasn't necessarily the prankster or like the jokey guy on this show, I had to play the straight man, and so you kind of have to know and tap into some of those acting skills in order to make and sell the comedy.
Right. So same with on stage as well. Like I know we've talked about it before, but like playing another character on stage, does that help your acting, or like does the acting like school or like the schooling you went to help that on stage when you're?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Because occasionally I'm just started doing this set where I play a character,
right.
You know, in addition to the comedy that I already do with stand up. And what has really helped me develop this character and getting into its mindset has been my acting training, which gives you motivation, everything else that you would need to explore a character.
Right. So going back a little bit here, you said you started with theater, and then I also seen here you started off with a lot of short films. I got a couple little names here. It'll probably bring back some memories.
Oh my
but,
God, Jesus!
What's Inside the Box?
Oh,
323.
Yeah.
The Bastard Men of Root Flats.
Yeah, that's a good
So, were these kind of shorts that you created, or were they something that somebody else asked you to be a part of?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I came out to Los Angeles. I was like fresh from New York and had my degree and everything. And I was on Gossip Girl. I had a very small part in that. And I did this. I was background for Martin Scorsese's Shine a Light, and got to meet Marty and all this cool shit.
Oh, wow!
And I moved out to Los Angeles thinking, like, hot damn, someone's gonna give me a script and it's gonna take off, and I'm gonna be famous tomorrow.
Right.
And it just doesn't happen that way in Hollywood. You have to be very proactive.
Okay.
And The Bastard Men of Root Flats was directed by some really dear friends of mine. It's a feature film Western where I play a bad guy. And that's shout out to the Chiarcella brothers. Those guys are really incredible filmmakers and really good friends of mine. Very imaginative fellows, if you will.
Very creative, and they live out here in LA.
They're actually back in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay,
and they still pursue their dreams and make some very fine films, and
mostly short films and different things like that.
Features and shorts and stuff. They dabble in a lot, and they're really great. They're blah blah blah.
Would you say that they helped you get to the point where you are now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I had already had like the acting bug and already wanted to do stuff, but I am where I am now because if it wasn't for my little stint in Bastard Men of Root Flats, I don't think I would have had the balls to really move to Hollywood and try to really give it a go.
Why was that? Just because you needed extra confidence, or just you needed to be able to see that you could create this image, or what was that really brought you out here?
Well, I think it was a little bit of naivety and a little bit of ego as well. Because it was like because it was a feature film that I finally had under my belt, and I had just got done with Gossip Girl and had my Screen Actors Guild card, and so I thought, well, this whole acting thing is easy. I don't know what people are bitching about, you know. And so I just kind of came out here thinking I was hot shit.
Right.
And I was cold shit. I sat on my couch for a very long time, waiting for my agent to call me. And I beat all my video games, dude. I beat every single one. And I had spent all my savings just on trying to survive out here without trying to get like a job, like a side hustle. I was like, I'm just going to throw myself into it and make my dreams come true, you know? And I was like living off of a Costco-sized box of wheat thins, and like I was like dipping them in different sauces and shit like that just to try and switch it up. I was so fucking broke, dude.